Hello, sentimental saps and the cynics taking advantage of them. I am so glad to be joining you all here today for your annual Christmas dinner. I have been looking forward to this for months, ever since right after you invited me, when I reached out to the guy who did it last year and he told me how much you paid him under the table to show up. How thrilling it was to arrive here today, meet privately with your chairman, and discover that I was not misinformed. And no, your eyes and ears do not deceive you. This is not a holiday dinner. This is a Christmas dinner because we are conservatives, we are Republicans, we are proud Americans, and we say Merry Christmas! That right there is one of my favorite accomplishments of the modern Republican Party. I know it isn't much compared to how we've wrecked public education, undermined organized labor, normalized a truly horrific level of gun violence, and pushed income inequality beyond where it was in the Gilded Age. But it still impresses me how we've been able to turn a phrase meant to wish someone well into an angrily partisan political statement. And it was so easy. That's one of the secrets to our party's success. Those people on the other side, the liberals, the leftists, the capital D Democrats, and my personal least favorite, the lowercase d Democrats, they're always getting stuck on how difficult everything is. Oh, we need big structural change, but it's so hard. It's a challenge. It takes time. Meanwhile, over here, we Republicans have figured out the truth, which is that most of this shit takes no effort at all. And the "we say Merry Christmas" thing is a great example. How did we do that? How did people like me convince people like you that by saying Merry Christmas, a thing everyone says, you were taking a brave stand in defense of our cherished values and traditions? We did it by telling you that there were people who didn't want you to say it, who wanted to stop you from saying it. And who are those people? They're nobody. They don't exist. We made them up. We told you the reason some businesses and public organizations used the phrase Happy Holidays in their seasonal greetings instead of Merry Christmas wasn't because they meant to refer collectively to the many different holidays that occur at this time of the year, or wanted to be inclusive of all cultures, including yours. We told you it was because they wanted to exclude people who celebrate Christmas. It was political correctness gone mad. Or, as we would say today, wokeness. It was anti-Christian. It was a war on Christmas. How many years have we gotten out of that one? How many more will we get out of it? Because we don't have to stop if we don't want to. And no matter what's actually going on, every year we can start it up again, and you'll all go for it, because if you knew or cared about what's actually going on, you wouldn't be Republicans. Unless you were super rich, and judging by the cars I saw in the parking lot on my way in here, most of you do not qualify. All we do is find examples of someone, anyone, a store, a school, a government organization, putting up decorations or sending out a greeting that isn't explicitly and exclusively about Christmas, and tell you about it with a sinister spin. Target puts up a banner that says Happy Holidays or Season's Greetings. Why doesn't it say Merry Christmas? Who are they afraid of offending? Muslims? They'd rather coddle Islamists? than pay respect to good Christian Americans like you and me, good Christian Americans like the ones who built this country and fought and died for our blessed freedoms? Or maybe a small town puts up a holiday display in its public square, and as part of that display, maybe there's a menorah. Sure, to celebrate Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday. You know who else was Jewish? Jesus Christ. Why doesn't that holiday display include a nativity scene, huh? So other religions get to put up decorations for their holidays, but not the religion of our founding fathers? That's not fair. And the best part about that one, there probably is a nativity scene or some other kind of Christmas decoration on display along with the menorah. We just don't tell you about it. We assume, correctly, that you're not going to fact check anything we say. You're going to accept what we tell you at face value and reflexively get mad about it. The perennial gullibility and willful, almost eager ignorance of you, the Republican voters, makes the whole thing possible. That's how we get away with that keep Christ in Christmas bullshit, too. Who's taking the Christ out of Christmas? Nobody. What's stopping Christians from making their Christmas celebrations all about Jesus? Nothing. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. You Bible thumpers are so easy. Any narrative that makes you the suffering saints, you'll latch onto it like a baby on a titty, no matter how divorced from reality it is. You're so ready to feel persecuted. And you're with us, the ones who are actually actively persecuting people. I'd explain why that's so deliciously ironic, but none of you know what the fuck irony even is, so never mind. Actually, there is something else we do that is kind of related to that. It's that thing we do where we accuse others of doing something that they aren't actually doing, but we are doing. Psychologists call that projection, and I would have just said that without the explanation, but as with the irony thing, I don't want to talk over your heads. I'll talk down to you, but I don't want to talk over you. We Republicans are fantastic projectors, which is really amazing because so many of you are such dim bulbs. Projector joke. Feel free to share that one with your kids. If they go to public school, they'll get it. That school is probably still using the same AV equipment it had when you were there. These teachers today, am I right? They want all these fancy interactive whiteboards and laptops for students. What? All of a sudden, film strips and cassette tapes aren't good enough? They were good enough for us. Well, good enough for you. We always had cutting-edge media technology. When I was a student, I attended a private academy, very exclusive, and so expensive, my parents had to evict several tenants and jack up the rents on all their properties multiple times in order to avoid going into their own pockets to pay my tuition, because my mom and dad understood the true meaning of Christmas. Anyway, before I went off on that little tangent about my very impressive sounding education, I was talking about projection. We love it. We do it all the time, including Christmas time. The best example of this is when we attack people for politicizing Christmas. We see a black person playing Santa Claus. How dare they politicize Christmas? Somebody points out that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a metaphor for how deviation from the norm among the working class is only tolerated if it can be exploited to the benefit of the ruling class. I mean, duh. But we're all like, how dare they politicize Christmas? Some lefty do-gooder says, you want to keep the Christ in Christmas? Spend less on gift shopping and more on feeding the hungry and helping the poor, because that's what Jesus would actually have wanted. And we cry, is nothing sacred? How dare they politicize Christmas? But who politicizes Christmas more than us? Who turned Merry Christmas from a nice thing people say to each other in December to a club to beat people over the head with? We did. Well, people like me did. And then you all took it and ran with it, because even though you and I are not the same, my wallet is fatter and my soul is emptier than you can even begin to fathom, we do have two things in common. We love playing victims, and we love being bullies. If we didn't, we wouldn't be Republicans. But we are. That's why we're here. And that's why we sing. There's a war on Christmas, and there will always be, though we know it's just for show and free publicity. We say Merry Christmas and sow grievance and dread. There's a war on Christmas, if only in your head. Remember, I promise to solve your imaginary problems while making other people's real ones even worse. So keep being angry, keep being afraid, and keep your payment information on my campaign website up to date. Happy Christmas! The war is